webcast through the People's Daily client, Xinhua News Agency client, CCTV, and Guangming Facebook and Twitter accounts. Today's and also the Jitterbug, the Sina Weibo, Baidu, Tencent, Soho, and NetEase, and Top Elephant, and Zhengzhou. Look at the Ancestor. Hi everyone, I'm Zhengzhou from radio and television host and Mina. It's the third day of the March lunar calendar again. The breeze is rising and the spring's broadening. 3 years of pandemics. The dark clouds have been lifted to see the red sun. This year is opening year of the comprehensive implementation of the Spirit 20th Party Congress and the start of the new journey of Chinese style of modernization. In the first year to resume large-scale offline and ancestor worship for the first time after a 3-year pandemic, which is of great importance to this Yellow Emperor hometown is particularly moving, and the children of 9 states gathered here to recognize about the things which has nurtured about the offspring of Chinese people and the civilization. Right in the 3rd of the March lunar calendar, and we will worship the Emperor, Yellow Emperor. We had the same root and the same ancestor. And we're striving for and make joint efforts, and also we wish that the worship ceremony will be a complete success. Thank you. We love China. The Vice President of the KMT of China, Mr. Lin Zhan, and President of the Mr. Song Chuyu, and Vice President of the KMT China, and Mr. Wu Boxiong, and Mr. Jiang Xiaoyan. Since its debut with 70 years, and there are 17 leaders coming from the Taiwan region of China has been seek their roots right in the Yellow Emperor, and we have worship ceremony against it, and currently and for the ancestors the part has been fully completed and constructed. There are over 1,080 meters, and also the width is 300 meters, and we have the road hunting square, the eccentric square, and also the temple of ancestors, the square, and the Yellow Emperor's garden, and we can have a perfect deployment and layout of the emperor. With the 9.95 meters, the height of the in white jade, the Yellow Emperor is sitting in the center of it, and they have been just saying about the offsprings and also the people of Chinese people and the Chinese nation. And the ceremony of worship will get started soon. Let's looking forward to the debut of it. And for every Chinese, today is a very exciting day. For those who cannot be here, don't worry, because this year's worship is still online and offline. You can worship the Shrine One, the Emperor, Yellow Emperor, and remember the merits of ancestors through the online ancestral worship platform in the hometown of the Yellow River in the year of the Decapolis. Well, this year, we also set up 3 places worship ceremony in Henan province. They are respectively the Lingbao Jing Mountain, the Huangdi Casting Plateau, where the Yellow Emperor cast his tripled, and also the Jingyuan, etc. And we have this unique, perfect one. And I'm Zhang Xiaolong, and I'm very honored to be able to participate in the December 1st Ancestor Worship Ceremony in the hometown of the Yellow Emperor, and broadcast for the event live for you. Hello everyone, this is Zheng. I'm Xinzheng as a director of the park, It is an exciting moment to experience the grand ceremony of the first-handed side. And for every Chinese, and we have a very exciting day. And as we have mentioned before, we have set up 3 places for worship in Henan province. They are respectively Lingbao and also the Yellow Emperor cast his tripod, the Jiyuan Tiantan Mountain, which is said to be the place where the Yellow Emperor prayed for the heaven, and the Xinzheng Huangdi Palace, where is the place where the Yellow Emperor practiced the military training. The same place of worship will be linked with the ancestral worship ceremony, tracing the footprint of the Yellow River. From today, the Yellow Emperor's hometown park will also be fully opened. Please take us to see it first, Mr. Zhi Jian. And we're gonna have a full view of it. Well, first one, we're gonna have the first virtual section along the most central path, and we experience an ancestral worship process from the south to the north. First, walk through the gate. This is officially into the park. Next, we'll feel the unity of heaven and man at the ancestral altar, experience the same frequency of the past and the present at the Xuanyuan Bridge, listen quietly at the ancestral shrine, and finally arrive at the ancestral worship square and look up at the Xuanyuan Hall. The running throughout this is core central axis, where it's 1 kilometer long. The central axis is a prominent embodiment of the architectural pattern of ancient Chinese capitals, first appearing in the Aristotle site for 4,000 years. It represents the majesty of kings that has been perpetuated, an aesthetic concept of the Chinese people pursuit of harmony and beauty of order. And also, the diameter from the root hunting gate to the front of the status of the Yellow River Emperor in the whole of the patriarchs in more than 500 steps, symboling the glorious history of Chinese nation for more than 5,000 years. It can be said that every view here is a search for the roots. In the hometown square mentioned earlier, there is a Huangdi treasure sensor in the middle of it. Mr. Xiaolong, I want to quiz you. Do you know where the oldest tripod ever found in the park? Well, actually, you can bet on me that have been seen the national treasure in the Henan Museum. It was excavated at the Peilingyang culture site in Xinzheng, Zhengzhou. Its name is Nipple-Porton Red Pottery Tripod, which is marked by the museum. And the goblet of the tripod, exactly, many archaeologists call it the first Chinese tripod. Yeah, and the design of the Yellow Emperor's tripod in the Forbidden City Square inherits the same the tripod style, which is dominant for thousands of years. Mr. Xiaolong, I would also like to ask you a question. What is the role of the tripod in traditional Chinese ceremonies in ancient times? Well, the bronze tripod has widely used by the ancestors in social activities such as gatherings and offerings, and it served as a symbol of status and was the most authoritative ritual instrument. Why did the ancient inhabitants worship the tripod so much? It starts from the first Chinese tripod we just mentioned, which is a pottery tripod, and the predecessors of the bronze tripod. What did is in the beginning cook meat, and to everyone knows live on utensils, and there is a saying that people take food as heaven. Tripod is a food utensil, and the food utensil is serve meat. You should also know that meat was very precious at that time, offered to the gods, to offer to the ancestors. So tripod is logically the most commonly used ceremony. Well, so it is. Since ancient times, China has attached great importance to the ritual of ceremonies. In a moment, we'll also see the traditional ceremonies in the ancestral worship plaza can describe the drums and the music together to cover the sky flags haunting. Is there any special regions of this route? Just like the hostess mentioned above, and in the traditional ceremonies with the grand ceremony, since ancient time, for example, we often hear the breast book. Breast book is actually the ancient emperor's honor god, and also kind of the highest ceremony, the system. During the Han Dynasty, there were already records of the breast books. After that, and the tree, as each dynasty continued to enrich the development, slowly formed a complete set of ceremonial form, the regions of it, and just like the Hua Gai made by the Yellow Emperor, and the drum music was originally used by the Yellow Emperor to defend against the enemy. And later, the Halsong book music, drum music, directed the function in the genesis of this, such as the banner that will be appear in the scene of a moment, is evolved from the primitive society totem. The first ancestors painted graphics on the flag to represent a clan or region, so it was an important distinguished object. Exactly on that, during the Han Dynasty.
As for Huagan and drums, its use started from the Yellow Emperor, and it was recorded in Jing, Huagan made by the Yellow Emperor, and drum music was originally used by the Yellow Emperor to defend against the enemy, and order Haukenburg drum music deterrent function is genesis of this. In short, these are to highlight sense of ritual enhanced to the solemnity of the ceremony. The ritual's time for the great different times have different ritual characteristics. Then specifically for each person, can Mr. Long give us a live demonstration of how to open the correct way to worship the ancestors? Because I think it is quite important to let everyone know about that. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, I am the anchor from Macau. I'm very glad. It is very honored to worship the Ancestor Worship Ceremony today, and we get together at this beautiful city, Xinzheng, to hold such great event. And the Yellow Emperor Worship Ceremony has been held by the Henan Provincial Department, and it has also been supported by the central government. And has been co-organized by different organizations. So we're so happy to have all the guests coming with us to attend such kind of great event to pay our respect and worship to the Yellow Emperor. And we are so glad to have the Chinese from overseas to come back to the hometown of the Yellow Emperor to worship for the father of the Chinese civilization. And it is the important primitive beliefs of human beings. One of these beliefs is heaven and earth, and the other is a belief in ancestors. When the ancients discovered that they could rely on the experience and wisdom of their ancestors to help them conquer and change nature, people began to have ancestor worship, especially since China has been an agricultural society for a long time in its history. Chinese people pay special attention to their origins, as well as a family, through various acts of ancestor worship. They express their nostalgic gratitude to their ancestors while hoping to find shelter, to feel the power behind their own family, to feel their bloodline flowing through our veins, and to feel the vitality of that which is alive and well. The big thing is a nation. So a link between our ancestors and me, and between you and between me, the country, and between the great power of the Chinese nation to continue our life. And Zhengzhou is currently building a national important place in the innovation base of Chinese civilization. And we have invited different media like CCTV4 and the Henan TV station to give you the live streaming about today's great event. Ancestor worship guests are now arriving at the Xuanyuan Bridge. Today's bridge for the contemporary new repair. The rear side of the Ringjun bridge hiding underneath was erected. And at this moment, the sound of chanting is coming from in front of the ancestor shrine. It's very familiar. Children are reciting the first article of the records of the Yellow Emperor. You played the young Sima Qian in China in the Kano. How do you understand Sima Qian's use of the Yellow Emperor as the beginning of the history, the beginning of the nation? I think it's because the Yellow Emperor led a triple alliance to fight against natural disasters and build a home. So this is also a starting point given by Sima Qian with unified view of history, standing on the coordinate system of history of Chinese civilization. Is that it really, really excellent that we need to know about the Chinese civilization as well as its development process. It's also very important for the children to chant the classics and remember their ancestors. Yes, this is a kind of continuation of the national culture and national spirit. It allows the children to know the range of their own bloodline and at the same time to understand the cultural heritage left by their ancestors. The merits of our ancestors should be remembered by all of us from childhood. The ancestral worship ceremony in the hometown of the Yellow Emperor is a vivid practice and a concrete grip to combine with Chinese culture. Well, friends and audience, the ancestral worship ceremony is about to start. We will join you, continue to pay more attention, and thank you for paying us so much attention to learn about the basic information of the old story related to the Yellow Emperor. And we are so glad that we can take into mind about this natural spirit and keep that as our own bloodline, and at the same time to understand the cultural heritage left by their ancestors. Thank you. Welcome all the guests to the Yellow Emperor's hometown. Let us welcome all the participants coming to this event. Dear friends, now you are watching the broadcasting about the Yellow Emperor Worship Ceremony, and we're so glad to let you know that we have invited a number of different media, like the CCTV for the Henan TV station and the Fenghang TV station. They will give us the live streaming about this great event, and we have also invited the leaders from the provincial level and the city level to come with us. And we have seen that there are different participants from all over China and overseas come to this event. And we have prepared you a different kind of ancestral performance. We have known that since ancient times, they were saying in China that on the 2nd day of February, the dragon raises his head. On the 3rd day of the lunar March, it pays homage to Xuanyuan. Since the spring and autumn period, the Warring States period, there have been activities to honor the ancestors on this day in all dynasties. So do not forget the ancestors, and we should not forget the way that China has developed in order to continue to live. And dear friends, the ancestral worship ceremony now will begin, and we look forward to it together. And we have seen that the performance have been hitting this drum to show its anchor, to show its majesty. And now we come together at the hometown of Yellow Emperor. Xinzheng city to enjoy the excellent Chinese traditional culture, which is the wisdom cradleization essence of Chinese civilization, the root and soul of the Chinese nation, the foundation for us to stand firm in the world cultural turmoil. Chinese culture is both historical and contemporary, both national, and it also belongs to the globe. Only rooted in this piece of land born and raised under our feet, we can catch the ground, increase the bottom, infuse life, and stand uprightly. Over the past 70 years, the continued holding of the ancestral worship ceremony in the hometown of the Yellow Emperor will surely further ignite the power force of strong nation building, a national rejuvenization, and the practice of Chinese-style modernization in Henan province. And the Henan province is the hometown for Chinese civilization. And we have seen that many Chinese, though they have been migrated to the overseas for their life, they have also come back to pay their worship to the Yellow Emperor at this special day. And now we have seen that leaders are coming from the ancestral door. And the guests have been putting on the ancestral scarf. And see that they have been tidying up themselves and show their respect to the Yellow Emperor. Against this backdrop, we can see that the leaders from the provincial level and the city level and the different department level have all take time. We have also seen the secretary of the Henan Provincial People's Government also paid a visit to this place. And they have finished their tidying up of the Yellow Emperor's ancestral scarf. And we have a ceremony at the root hunting gate to stand. The Yellow Emperor's silk scarf is a metaphor for the Yellow Emperor and a metaphor for Rang as the wife of the Yellow Emperor. And when the leaders enter the gate of root search, a giant Chinese streamer is erected along the center of the square to pass. The Chinese flag was originally named, which is the ceremony flag originated from the Tang and Song dynasties and was a necessary part of the ancient Chinese royal guard of honor. And in front of it is the order of the ancestors, and guests are about to see in the middle of the order two national important objects copied from the Bronze Age, the lotus crane square pot. The originals were unearthed not far from here in Zhengzhou tomb number 1, and this year coincides with the centennial of its underneath recreating style of the heyday. Today, lower bases are carved on each side with important cultural sites in China. There are the Peiligang site in Henan province, the double site. At this point in the canal, bamboo slips stand on both sides, the content of which is erected from the earliest and highest status Chinese medical masterpiece Huangdi Neijing. It is rooted in the civilization of the Yellow Emperor and includes the unique connotation and profound wisdom of Chinese culture. It has special significance today, after the end of the 3 year. And moving forward, it is the ancestral tomb of the tomb which has shown their traced to pay their respect to the sky, to the earth, and to our ancestors, which have shown our traditional attitude to pay our respect to the ancestors. Its design philosophy also contains that when you get on its silk pot, and in the center of this pot, you will see the statue of the Yellow Emperor, as well as the Xuanyuan pavilion, and enjoy this lighting surroundings making you have the feeling that you started a conversation with Yellow Emperor. So when you have the opportunity to try have a talk with the Yellow Emperor, you can see a beautiful thing.
Right in this picture, and we have these two things in this regard. Well, actually, and ever since the Bronze Era, and for its different parts, and were coming from this first tomb of the Zhengzhou, etc. And now it is the centennial in this regard. Well, actually, and we have the very good and wonderful era of it. And for each the thesis and for each side of it, and we have an important heritage site. And as for the Pelican, the Shuanghuai Shu, and the Alito culture, and the Liangzhu culture, and also for the Sanxingdui relics, etc. This kind of relics and just tell us about the different histories of it, and also we have seen that with the 5,000 years history, it is not only an imagination or just a story, but actually, and we can know about the long and profound game that is well documented. Well, actually, I just want to say, just like the Zhengzhou has mentioned that about the worship of heaven and ancestors mentioned, which is actually the most important ritual of our ancient times, called the Qili, the auspicious rituals. Ancient divided the ritual into the 5 categories, and also we just have the heaven and earth and the people today. Through the study, historic testing in the excavation of the cultural relics, we've learned a lot about the ancient rituals and the culture, as well as the heritage of the past and the present. For example, just now when the silk scarf of the Yellow Emperor, we said that clean up clothes and crowns, and which is a phrase of the Book of Rites, the beginning of the ritual and the righteousness lying in the correcting of appearance in the body. This is the beginning of the ritual and the righteousness, and which is also to show respect to ancestors. And there's also the music playing the yellow bell, the song lui, and the dance and the closed doors, and also sacrifice to the gods of the heaven. So as the bell and the drums together started from the Yellow Emperor's drumming music. Well, actually, and for all of our guests has been going to the pathways, and also, and we have these 2 parts, and also the point and the bamboo brief stands on the both sides, and the content of this celestial strip down is extracted from the earliest and the highest state of the Chinese medical masterpiece, Yellow Emperor's classic of the internal medicine in China. And with the 3 years efforts against the COVID-19 pandemic, and we have come from the distant past, lighted the future generation that pass on into the infinity. Yellow Emperor as the ancestor of the Chinese humanity. There's many inventions, creations, including the clothes and the food and the housing and the transportation and the writing and music in every aspect, such as showing 100 of grains and grasses, starting to make clothes and the crowns and the building belts and the cords, making writing and music, building places and so on. Currently, the guests has entered into the Shuangyuan Bridge. Ancestor Worship guest has now arriving at the Shuangyuan Bridge. Do I have some story about it? Well, actually, and we have these dual bridges, and currently, and we have the contemporary new repair. The real side of the original bride hidden underneath was erected in the 1570 Ming Dynasty, especially to pay homage to the Yellow Emperor, the Shuangyuan. At this moment, the sound of the chanting is coming from in front of the ancestor shrine. Mr. Xiaolong, can you just hear what the children are chanting? Well, it's actually very familiar. The children are reciting the first article of the records of the Yellow Emperor. We also play the Yong Sima Chuan in the China in the canon. How do you understand the Sima Chuan's use of the Yellow Emperor at the beginning of the history, the beginning of the nation? I guess it's because Huang, the Yellow Emperor, led a triple alliance to fight against a natural disaster and build a home. So that's why also the starting point given by Sima Qian, we unified a view of the history, standing on the coordinated history of the Chinese civilization. Well, that is pretty good. Chinese civilization started from the Yellow Emperor and blossomed from the Yellow Emperor. It is also very important for children to chant the classics and remember the ancestors. Exactly. This is a kind of continuation of the national culture, national spirit. It allows the children to know the origin of the own bloodline and at the same time to understand the cultural heritage left by the ancestors. Therefore, merits of ancestors should be remembered by all of us from the childhood. The ancestral worship ceremony in the hometown, the Yellow Emperor is a vivid practice. Ladies and gentlemen, and we're gonna get started our worship ceremony. We'll follow up with the live streaming. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, the Yellow Emperor Worship Ceremony will get started soon this year, and we will have the online merges with offline the worship ceremony, and we have the leader and the guests who present at the worship ceremony today, the NPC, the Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Luo Jiangshan, and also with the Mr. Gao Yunlong, the Vice President of the CPPCC, as well as the President of the China Chamber of Commerce, and also Chu Chuchun of the 12th MPC, and also for the President of the Xinzheng, and also for the Mr. Li Huidong, and Mr. Wu Weishan, the President of this Mingjian Central, and also for Mr. Sun Chusheng, the Central of the Committee, and also the President Wang Lu of the Minggong Party, Mr. Liu Caixia, the President of this Minggong Party, and also for the 930, the United Front, and Mr. Zhao Dejiang, etc. And we have the leaders and the guests and the leaders from the Chamber of Commerce, and also the Vice President of the Cross-Strait Communication Ceremony, and also for the United Front, the Mr. Li Xiaoming, the Taiwan, the Chinese Association Zhengming, the President Liu Yufu of the Chinese Association based in Taiwan, and also the Director Liu Chunfeng from the China United Front, the Bureau, and also the Mr. Zhang Xuechao, and we had the leaders and the guests from the state level, and also Shanxi Provincial CPPCC Vice President Sun Ke, and also the Vice President Wang Hui from all of the parts, and also Party Secretary of Chinese Nation, and Mr. Lou Yangsheng, and also the Governor of Henan Province, and Mr. Wang Kai. And also, we have the leaders coming from the Party Standing Committee, and also the Party Secretary of the Zhengzhou City, and Mr. An Wei, and Mr. He Xiong, the Mayor of Zhengzhou. And we have the leaders coming from this Xinzheng City. And also, we have the friends and also coming from the Hong Kong and Macau and Taiwan, and the representatives coming from it. And we had the People's Daily and the Xinhua News Agency and the CCTV, etc. With over 100 medias join us today. Let's give them a warm applause to welcome to join us today. Without the very flat land and thousands of the house units, the yellow sand, and also with arduous journey, the wilderness, thinkings and based in his eyes, and in his eye we have seen the glimpse of the thousand stars and the infinity. And we have the selection of the things, and we will finish and bearing this in mind all the way, and also to pursue the principle and rules of the Taoism and pursue the unity home of it. Therefore, at the mountainside, and we are pursuing the transformation of our development, and based on the Shuanghuaishu culture, we have the new order of our culture. At the Yishui River, the wisdom has been nurtured into the new aspect. Thousands of the days and the nights, and the dawn just coming here and also giving us the hopes. The simple tools with the very complicated and sophisticated wisdom, and the faint fire with the very strong pursuit. And we will also pursue with the sense the origins of thousands of the industries, and we have begun our culture. With the arduous journey, the Emperor Huang was not afraid of the hardships, and with the very strong determination, and he ceased no efforts. The long journey and the arduous journey will never cease his efforts and will never change our originality. The Emperor Huang just cultivated thousands of the people, and he followed up the principle of the God and also the heart of the people. The histories and from the 8 directions gathering here, into the stars gathering here and become a fire with infinity, with the thousands of the mountains, and we have the very strong culture, and the whole globe is under the good governance. The mindset and the wisdom is based on here, and we have thousands of the stars and the sky. An era with infinity has get started. Therefore, this land has becoming the land of these 9 dynasties and also with thousands of the peoples. And then the era and just cultivate the Chinese civilization will never cease its efforts and steps. Therefore, this emperor, which has been shaping the Huang and Xia civilization, has become the ancestor of the Huang Emperor. All the way, and we'll bear him in mind. The Yellow Emperor Worship Ceremony just get started now. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give the floor to the master, the President of Henan CPPCC, Mr. Hong Changsheng, to moderate the Yellow Emperor Worship Ceremony. Your Excellency Luo Zhengzhou, Vice Chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, Mr. Gao Yunlong, Vice Chairman of the National Committee, and also Qu Xuchun, Vice Chairman of the 12th National, Mr. Wu Chengdian, Chairman of the New Party of Taiwan, and distinguished leaders, guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, good morning. At the 3rd of the March in lunar calendar, and we will worship the Yellow Emperor today, and we have the ancestor, the offsprings of the Yellow Emperor, and we're gathering at the origins of the Yellow Emperor, and also to worship and to respect the Yellow Emperor, to pray for China to have a splendid culture and people, and we wish the peace and the respect of the world. Now, I'm going to give the floor to the Governor Wang Kai of Henan Province to have opening remarks.
His Excellency Mr. Luo Zhengzhou, Vice Chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, distinguished Mr. Gao Yunlong, Vice Chairman of the National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, and Chairman of the All China Federation of Industry Commerce, Mr. Qu Xuchun, Vice Chairman of the 12th National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Constructive Conference, Mr. Wu Chengdian, Chairman of the New Party of Taiwan. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, in this beautiful season, with the booming season, flowers blossom In this beautiful season, we get together at the beautiful city of Xinzheng to hold the Yellow Emperor Worship Ceremony as a hometown of Yellow Emperor in the year of Gui Mao, to pay our respect to the majesty history of our ancestors and pay our greatest wishes to the booming development of China. I would like to, on behalf of the organizing committee, as well as the local residents from Henan province, to extend my warmest and sincerest welcome to all the friends presenting at this event. And I would like to especially thank all those who have been long cared and supported the development of Henan province. At this great event, paying respect to the ancestor Yellow Emperor, 5,000 years ago, Yellow Emperor took a trip to united 9 landscapes and start the innovation for Chinese civilization by creating the wagons and started the Chinese civilization and help the local people live a flourished life. Yellow Emperor has been as the highest status in the bottom heart of Chinese people, and Yellow Emperor culture is a root culture for Chinese civilization. Today, we are seeking our root by paying our respect to the Emperor to promote the long-term sustainable development of Chinese civilization and setting up our Chinese nation's spirit, and I hope such kind of spirit can sustain the booming and prosperous development of China. Only when the ancestors' culture being long-standing can a nation being prosper in a long term. And we have developed glorious history. Since the 18th National People's Congress, we have been deeply implemented President Xi Jinping's guidance when he visited Henan province and follow deeply of his philosophy to working hard to make further progress by following 2 ensures and implementing 10 strategies, and unremittingly overcome all the difficulties with our concerted efforts. All events and causes have witnessed further progresses, and people have a stronger sense of harvesting, strong sense of gaining, and a strong sense of security among our people. And the modernization development of Henan province has also been developed. The central plan of China has enjoyed a prosperous growth with a visionary future prospect. With the sound of the drum beating, we will fully implement the distribution and decision made by the 20th National People's Congress and seek the confidence of our own culture by promoting the Yellow Emperor's culture to transform our effort into innovation and strengthen our recognition to our culture, civilization, nation, and widely pull the wisdom from both China and overseas Chinese to contribute the full development of China's rejuvenization and write a new chapter of a better central plain civilization against the new era. I wish the Yellow Emperor Worship Ceremony in Gui Mao year a complete success, and wish our great nation long-term prosperity, and wish all Chinese people living a happy and prosperous life. Thank you. Now I announce the start of the Year Emperor Worship Ceremony in the Gui Mao year. Now let's go for the first item of the ceremony, the salute to this century. All the guests please stand at attention and we'll fire this kind of 21 shots. Now let's go for the second item of the ceremony. Present our flower basket to show our respect to the Yellow Emperor. Now the floor is open to Mr. Luo Bo-sang. Let's welcome Mr. Luo Sang Jiangcun, Vice Chairman of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, Mr. Gao Yunlong, Vice Chairman of the National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference and Chairman of the All China Federation of Industrial Commerce, Mr. Qi Xinzheng, Vice Chairman of the 12th National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, to present the flower baskets. Now the floor is open to Mr. Lou Yangsheng, Secretary of the CPC Henan Provincial Committee and Chairman of the Standing Committee of the Provincial People's Congress, and Mr. Wang Kai, Governor of the Henan Provincial People's Government. On behalf of the Henan Provincial Committee, the Provincial People's Congress, the Provincial People's Government, the Provincial Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, and the people from all walks of life in Henan Province to present their flower baskets. Now the floor is open to Mr. Li Wenhui, Vice Chairman of the Cross-Strait Exchange Association, Mr. Lian Xiaomin, Vice Chairman of the All China Federation of Returned Overseas Chinese, Mr. Zheng Ping, Vice Chairman of the All China Federation of Compatriots in Taiwan, and Mr. Li Yufu, President of the Chinese Association for Research on Yuanhui Culture. Representing the Taiwan Affairs Office of the State Council, the All China Federation of Returned Overseas Chinese, the All China Federation of Compatriots in Taiwan, the Chinese Association for Research on Yuanhui Culture, the organizers of the Ancestor Worship Ceremony, respectively, to present their flower baskets.
Let me just give the floor to Mr. An Wei, member of the Standing Committee of the CPC Henan Provincial Committee and the Secretary of the CPC Zhengzhou Municipal Committee, Mr. He Xiong, Mayor of the Zhengzhou Municipal People's Government, and Mr. Ma Jifeng, Vice Mayor of the Zhengzhou Municipal People's Government and the Secretary of the CPC Xinzheng Municipal Committee, and Mr. Ma Hongwei, Mayor of the Xinzheng Municipal People's Government, and will be invited to lay the wealth on the behalf of the Zhengzhou and the Xinzheng Municipal Committees, the Municipal People's Congress, and the Municipal Government and the Municipal Committee at the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, and the people from all walks of the life in the hometown of the Yellow Emperor.
大的进行。
The worship ceremony will have the third item, incense on the hands of the purifier. Let's give the floor to Wu Chengdian, chairman of the New Party of Taiwan, to offer incense. Let's give the floor to the Mr. Zhao Hongyi, founder, chairman and CEO of 360 Corporation, Zhao Hongyi, and Chen Yingling, president of the Macquarie Foods Co. Limited, and Ding Sakura Ying, master of the TCM, and Mr. Wang Rensheng, chairman of the Dynasty Department Store Co. Limited, to offer incense. Let's give the floor to Mr. Cui Zhicheng, chairman of the First Technology Group, and Ang Kang, the chairman of the Hualan Biological Engineering Co. Limited, the Zhang Gaobo founder and the CEO of Hong Kong Birthplace Group, and the CEO of Birthplace, the Macau Financial Assets Exchange. Shi Zhuben, National People's Congress representative and the national model worker and director of the Goodwill Health Food, to offer incense. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have the first item of the worship ceremony, and we're going to have the ritual ceremony. The first bell, and second bell, three bells. The ceremony is over. The fifth item of the ceremony is to read the worship text. Now let me just give the floor to Mr. Qi Shuchuan, Vice Chairman of the 12th National Committee of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, to read the text of it. right in this Gui Mao year, at the 3rd of the March, we gathering at the mountain of the Xinzheng and the riverside of the Zhengzhou. The offsprings of the Yan Huang Emperor, with the respect, bear in mind, and we will respect the ancestor of Chinese civilization, Mr. Xuan Yuan, the 12th Vice President of the Mr. Chu Xucun, on behalf of the global offspring and in their names, and we will show with my respect the Chinese civilization and culture with the long and the very good history, and we will pursue the ancestors and also to focus on that, and with the arduous journey, and we've get started from the grains, and with the marriage and also for the ritual, and we had a very good ceremony, and we have a very good ways.
And we have set up a set of disciplines to help us to make every success by building up the palace and recommend the genius to govern this country so as to make our people living in this prosperous land to be well educated with good merits. And the generation has been long living, and the booming development of central plain of China, Henan province, by utilizing its agriculture growth to promote its economic development. With 5,000 years historic development, we have write a new chapter for this place by defending us from the invaders. And even we have experienced arduous setbacks, we have committed our efforts to develop and see dramatic changes happened at this place. With the reform and opening up policies being implemented, we have seen glorious development in this province. And we have utilized the market economy to help us to see a booming business by lifting the poverty to seek the moderately proper society and write down this name from generation to generation. By strengthening our country with the President Xi Jinping at its core as our leader to seek and realize the national rejuvenization on the basis of solid steps. On the south of the Yellow River and the center of Zhengzhou, at the bottom of Songshan Mountain, we have seen majesty development. By implementing the two ensures, Henan province has fully taken its responsibility to implement the 10 national strategy to seek the further and pave a smooth pathway for the further development against the globalization. And the light of the Chinese civilization will help to contribute and help the global economic recovery. And we seek the harmonious while respect the coexistence. The two straits from the mainland and cross and Taiwan are the same offsprings, and we would like to join our hands with our compatriots as the offspring of the Yellow Emperor. We pay respect to our hometown. So by joining hands together at Xinzheng city, we pay our respect to our ancestor, Yellow Emperor, and hope the Yellow Emperor can protect us, protect China against at the bottom of the Songshan Mountain by embrace us into the auspicious reigning and follow the experienced path of our ancestors and take the history as our lesson to help us to further grow And we will engage ourselves into the global arena and commit into all our effort to seek the marvelous growth of this land. Only with arduous effort can make Chinese nation prosper for the long term. Now let's go for the sixth item, playing the chant.
Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the traditional sound of China.
大典进行。
Now we're gonna proceed to the seventh item of the ceremony in the musical dance of worship. The Punjab dance is a unique dance that flourished in the Han Dynasty with the pun and the drums on which dancers jump and perform. The dance was birthed in the Yellow River Basin 2,000 years ago and is paired with the poem Xinzheng, the books of sounds, and the Zhengzhou, which is a tribute to our ancestors in ancient times and today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a traditional song from Chinese ancient book, which is called as the Book of Sounds. Please enjoy it.
大典进行第8。
We're going to have the 8th session, praying for the blessing of China. Now let's give the floor to our guests. Please step onto the stage. List Huaidong, Vice Chairman of the Central Committee of the Democratic Revolution, and Wu Weishan, the Vice Chairman of the Central Committee of the Democratic League, and also Sun Chusheng, Vice Chairman of the Central Committee, and Gao Yudong, the Vice Chairman of the Central Committee, Li Chuaixia, Vice Chairman of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of China, and Liu Xiaomei, Vice Chairman of the Jiusan Society Central Committee, Zhao Dejiang, Secretary General of the Old China Federation of the Industry and Commerce, and Liu Zhanzhong, Director of the 9th Bureau of the Central United Front Work Department, and as Zhou Xunchang, the Deputy Director of the General Office and the Ministry of the Culture, and also the Meng Shulong, Vice Chairman of the IT, and Mr. Li Peng, the President of the Zhengzhou University, and Liu Qingzhu, the member of the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, and Wang Wei, member of the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences, Director of the Department, Wang Qilong, and the President of the All British Henan Province, and Zhou Peiren, the national members of the Master of the Chinese Arts, and also the Zhao Derong, the former Executive Vice President of it, and also Mr. Ding Bo, National People's Congress representative, the Zhang Kufeng, President of the ICT, and also for the Liu Xunlian, the Chairman of the Supervision Digital Technology, and also the President Song Chun of the Zhi'ou Home Forming, and Xinhe, the President Li Fang. And also, we have the Gu Shunong, Director of the Wuhan Economic and Trade Office of the Government of Hong Kong in Special Administrative Region, Yang Zhihong, member of the 13th NPC, and the Zhang Huangchu Sheng, delegated to the 20th National People's Congress to the party, and also the Song Chuhong National People's Congress Deputy and the National Model Worker, President of the Zhengzhou Xinzheng Chinese capital, and Li Ding, National People's Congress Deputy, and also the Senior Engineer Zheng Xiaoying of the 20th NPC representatives. The huge river of 10,000 miles nourishes the fertile fields of the China's nurtured spring colors of this divine state, witnessing the uninterrupted songs and dances along the two shores. We have nurtured of it, and we have the striving for strength and perseverance. Let's unite all the people and protect the mountains and rivers together. Bless our dear motherland. The sea is calm, and the river is clear, and all things are peaceful. At this time, the yellow soil from Henan, the red soil from Yunnan, the white soil from Xinzheng, the black soil from Liaoning, and the green soil from Anhui, and the queen Jacob beans, wheat, and rice have been offered on the stage. Let's give the floor to the Zhou Linjiang, President of the European Overseas Chinese Youth Federation, Mr. Xu Lei, Vice Chairman of the Foundation for Promotion of Peaceful Reunion and the President of the Tai Henan Chamber of Commerce, and Liu Hao, Permanent Honorary President of the Brazilian Henan Hometown Association, and the Zheng Jun, Chairman of the Australian Yellow River Performing Arts, and also Chao Yinlian, the representative of the National People's Congress, and also the Hou Yinjiang, Chairman of the Henan Yangshao Wine Co. Limited, the Ding Hunwei, founder of the Zhengzhou Taxis, the Thunderbolt team, and also the Sun Zhongling, National People's Congress representative, the Li Jianfu, the National Model Worker, National Moral Model, and Li Jianfu, welcome. Sculpture artist and Liu Hongli, Chinese Arts and Crafts Master. 10 guests will be present, the 5 colors, earth, and the 5 grains, worship the ancestors of humanity, and pray for the prosperity of China. Let's worship the ancestors of humanity and the Chinese civilization and pray for the prosperity of China. Now we're gonna proceed to the ninth item. The coexistence among heaven, earth, and people.
活过了300年，又活过了3000年。我希望他这种精神能够传递3万年，一至无穷。预祝癸卯年黄帝故里拜祖大典圆满成功。
不忘祖先，不忘来路，绵绵不绝，生生不息。我是邓亚萍，预祝癸卯年黄帝故里拜祖。
Mine is Deng Yaping, and I wish that for these people will become a success and with the same root and the same peace and also with the harmony. And right in the Zhengzhou, Xinzheng, and we are pursuing about the future and seek for the roots. My name is Zhang. I wish this worship ceremony will become success. With the same root and the same origin and the same people, and with the harmonious coexistence, I wish this worship ceremony will become success. On the Ancestor Worship Square, a huge heaven, earth, and people in harmony is gradually formed. The wish balloons in people's hands, pending the hope. Writing a few lines, they hope they fly to the star of the river, vividly on earth. The same root and ancestor, the long history, peace and harmony. And with the peace and the respect, we're going to have the harmonious coexistence. My ancestor Shuangyuan, may you still be visible in today's China's prosperous world. I officially announce the worship ceremony of the Yellow Emperor in the hometown of it has been concluded.
恭贺大典礼成。
Congratulations on the completion of the ceremony. Well, actually, Mr. Xiaolong, and we have witnessed about the worship ceremony. I think that you have a feeling a lot. Can you just share with us? Well, actually, when I go in this and I feel so touched and I feel so strong. Well, actually, and we have a strong ritual. And for example, like the few steps and with 1,000 years of history, and we have witnessed about the different the clothings and from the ancient China and the contemporary lifestyle, and we have gathering all together. Well, actually, and I hope that for the worship ceremony will just bring our respect and our love to our ancestors. Well, your words are already touching. I know that for the Zhengzhou has been joining us at the ceremony for 3 consecutive years. Well, actually, and how do you feel? Quite differently. Well, including this year, this is my 3rd time to join in the worship ceremony. It is my good honor to join in this worship ceremony. Well, actually, in terms of this renovation and construction and upgraded the park, what I felt is that actually this worship ceremony is quite solemn, and we have a very grand ceremony. And this garden will be beautiful. Thank you for our 2 guests. Well, with the long and history of China, and without the never things in this regard, and the Chinese civilization will always vibrant. The vitality will also nourish up in the new era, and we will continue to follow the footsteps of ancestors. This is our home for 5,000 years. We welcome Chinese people from all over the world to join us. And with the same root and the ancestors and the humanity and harmony in the Henan radio and television station, Zhengzhou radio and television station, dear viewers, compatriots from Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan, overseas Chinese around the world, with the successful completion of the 9th rituals of the Ancestor Worship System. Ceremony, the 2023 Ancestor Worship Ceremony at the hometown of the Yellow Canberra has been ended. Goodbye. Thank you.
上车出发。